welcome, broadcasting to the entirety of the Super Smash Bros. Community. This is Beyond the Metagame. I'm your host, Peon, this week live from the North Pole. Who's that over there? Is that Michelle? No, it's Santa. I'm joined, as always, by my wonderful co-host, AV. AV, how you doing, big boy?
I'm doing great. Santa gave us a wonderful game at a wonderful time. I think a lot of us, if you're in school, if you got some time off from work, this is probably the best time to kind of get those hours into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I know I have.
Yeah, that makes me think. I wonder how many people are going to get Smash Ultimate, on Christmas morning, pop it in their Switch, and they're going to be so eager, so happy to play, and then they're gonna be matched up against a bunch of people who've already been playing the game for 3 weeks. They're just going to give them the hands.
Yeah, I mean, my view on that is that everyone's got to get the hands at some point. Yeah, you know, whether or not it's you're just starting and that down B Kirby gives you the hands, or whether or not that Beast Crom that on Elite Smash gives you the hands, it's all the same because it's all relative.
Yep, I'm with you there, buddy. But yeah, I hope all of you guys are having a great December, working their way up towards Christmas. I know I am. I'm excited to see the family. I'm excited to unwind, drink some coffee, drink some hot cocoa, you know what I mean? Open up some gifts, give some gifts. I'm excited, man, and really happy to be having such a fun game and at this time of year. But AV, today, you and I are joined by a really awesome guest. You guys know him, you love him. His name's CONEY. AV, any thoughts, before going into this episode?
Yeah, I think some things to look out for during this episode is kind of pull on CONEY's experience and understand what it's like to have been around in the Smash community for that long. And if you haven't been here for that long, I want you to kind of just absorb this his mentality and his love for the game, and kind of take that as your own. Obviously, it's way harder, way easier said than done. But I think there's something beautiful that CONEY brings to the table in terms of his personality and mentality, in terms of being a competitor and contributor to the scene.
Yeah, I completely agree. So guys, check out that and much more in just one moment. Welcome back to Beyond the Metagame. This week, AV and I are joined by a very complicated man. His name is CONEY. And I say complicated because he's done a lot of things. He's been around for quite a long time. He's a self-proclaimed Smash talker and MC for VG Bootcamp. He's the host of the High Percent podcast, another Smash podcast. The only, some would say. And
I'm glad you left that in there.
I didn't feel right not saying it. And, also underrated in terms of what he's done as a player as well. He's been, relevant for a long time, and he did a lot of good things in Brawl. So, CONEY, man, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, yeah, of course. Thank you for having me on. Love doing stuff like this.
And just off the bat, man, we're like 1 week out from Ultimate. Well, a couple more weeks if you had the early access.
Yeah, but none of us had that, right? Nobody had that.
Not at all. So man, I don't know, I guess just to start things off, how do you feel about it right now? Are you still excited about it? Is it still on your mind all the time?
Oh my God, yeah. It's insane. So I like you said, I've been playing, Smash games since Brawl, was in love with Melee, was a super casual just on my friend's couch. Loved Melee, loved Brawl. I didn't really like Smash 4. I didn't feel that way. Even in the beginning where I was living with Gimmer. I lived in a house with Gimmer and Apostle, the VG guys, and we played Smash 4 and we kind of liked it, but even at the start we were like, I'm not really digging it. I don't really like it that much. But this game has just kind of taken not just me, but my whole region, MDVA, by storm. Everybody's in love with it. We just had the biggest Xanadu we've ever had, I think at 175 entrants last night.
Wow.
Which is insane. We're breaking records already. I think that I'm kind of along for the ride with everybody else, super jazzed up about the game. I'm in love.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I know we're having some of our biggest locals in here up in NorCal.
Yeah.
And I totally agree. It's been so on my mind. Like I'm like thinking about the combos that I got while I'm at work, and like, I'm like, yeah, and some of the coolest parts about the game is that when I win or when I lose, I feel like I feel like I had a great time no matter what it is. Like I think 3 stocks might be a lot to do with that, and the general speed of the game. But yeah, I'm definitely having good experiences whether I win or lose in the game.
Dude, I totally feel that. It's funny because like when I lost in Smash 4, it was like, yeah, I of course I lost, and part of that is on the player, but I always felt like I lost to a character more than anything. It's like, okay, your character did the one thing your character does, and it took a weird stock off me, and I only have 4 stocks in a set. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
it's very different, but it's
That's
funny
a really
because
good point.
That's always how I felt, and I think so. Coming from Brawl was 3 stocks, and it really, that pace of the game, I think, is so much more conducive to having more agency in sets and like figuring out your opponent more and figuring out habits, and you have time to adapt and respond. I definitely think that's part of it, what you said. And it just feels more well-rounded overall, even now at the beginning.
That's actually really crazy. I mean, like right now, in Ultimate, I mean, the game's only been out for a short amount of time. Do you already feel more kind of responsible for your in-game actions than you did at the end of Smash 4's lifestyle after playing?
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm on the same boat.
It's weird because like I played Smash 4, but I never really felt like I was in control, and I got bored after like an hour playing the game or 2 hours, and I never found a character that I liked. In this game, I have like 8 characters that I'm really loving and I'm seriously considering playing. And it just, everything feels more responsive, smoother. I don't know. I'm totally in love with it, and it's a big deal to me because I'm glad that other people are in love with it too, because I always felt like I was looking from the outside looking in on Smash 4, and I never got it, but this one feels totally different.
Right. Like I feel like someone who came from the side of abusing a character and making people feel miserable. Like after I played sets, or after I had like have a huge like training session with Peon, I think like after I ding donged them like 50 or 60 times, like people would just say, "Dude, you've taken years off of my life."
Yeah, Coney. Like I was a ginger when I met AV, and now I look like an uglier, like silver fox. I'm like George Clooney if you got hit in the head with a baseball bat.
It's just touch of gray. It's distinction. It's not bad. It's good.
I look young. I look old enough to know what I'm doing, and young enough to still do it. You know what I mean?
It's a good commercial. It's not bad. No, it's just like that. Like Ding Dong is the one thing DK did, and I feel like in Ultimate, characters have enough room to like express themselves and have different play styles. Whereas in the last game, it's like, okay, do you do the one thing your character does? Then that's optimal. Anything else is just, you're not trying to win.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Cody,
I totally agree.
Oh, sorry to cut you off, baby. I want to ask, because I know that you have been, and it cracks me up actually, because for the longest time you've been an opponent, and I don't know how much of this is just in jest, but you've been an opponent of the idea that like, whoa, like I can really express myself in this game. Like I forgot exactly what you tweeted one time, but like it went sort of viral because it was funny. You were like it was something like, oh, the Samus is charging charge shot. Like, wow, this guy's just such a patient guy. You can just tell that he really is a very meditative, thoughtful player, and just for charging his charge shot or whatever.
Yeah, I think that some people look into video games more than is necessary, because like people will see somebody like Mango play and they project his persona onto that because he's really reckless and, you know, very impulsive, blah blah blah, and that's fine. But I think you see as much as you want to see, and I think some people get lost in that. And like, yes, there's some parallels between personality and playstyle, but I think some people like, it's nerd horoscopes. You know what I mean? It's like that's really all it is. You can describe somebody's play with any adjective that you want because that's what you see in the person. And it's like, when you've been around this long, you know that people are people and video games are video games. And like, I think that's just taking stuff too seriously, honestly. I like to poke fun at it. It's fun.
So it's confirmation bias, like because the documentary said that Mango's a party kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time the down air happens, we all project that. That's
it's
Go
part
ahead.
of the narrative, and like it's a cool thing, right? You know, because it creates storylines, but don't get your head so far up there. You know what I mean? Like, remember, at the end of the day, it's not like saying Melee or Smash literally is your personality. Come on, dude, that's a little.
But you do confess that there is perhaps a bit of validity to that, correct?
I mean, yeah,
An element.
I hesitate to give it any credence because I feel like if you give the inch, you give the mile. It's just like, but yeah, I mean, there's stuff to it. Like I'm kind of a bully when I play the game, and I try to play characters that are. I've always kind of historically played these really kind of oppressive bully type characters, but like in real life, I'm not a jerk. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, but maybe this is like maybe there is an aspect of that in your personality. Like, this is a counterpoint for devil's advocate's sake. Maybe like 1/10 of CONEY is just a real asshole. Like buried under your skin, under this like sweet lovable persona, there's just like this like little part of you that just need some sort of outlet, man. And Smash.
I can tell you it's more than that. I promise you, it's more than 10%. But at the same time, it's like you could. I could look at anybody, and I could look at the character they played, and I could create 3 5-page theses on like why they play that way. It's a Rorschach test. That's really my bottom line, and it's just like you said, it's confirmation bias. That's, I think, the best way to describe it.
Right. So speaking about characters, so who have you been trying out in Ultimate?
So when I first played the demo, I fell in love, kind of to my chagrin. I wasn't happy about this, but I really love Ganon and Ices. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try them out. Then the real game came out, and I was like, all right, they're not great. I'm not really in love with them after trying everybody. But it's funny because after Smash 4, even after 4 years, there was nobody that I liked. Like, I couldn't like any of the characters, couldn't bring myself to play it. Now I'm actually playing like 90% newcomers. Right now my main is Inkling. I love Inkling. They're so fun. And it's funny because I attach myself to them without like, I usually pick the bad character, so it's weird for me. Like, oh, I got really lucky on this, you know. I rolled 7s. It's funny.
Right, yeah, rolled natural 20 there, along with our boy Peon, who's also playing a ton of Inkling, right?
Dude, I have to say,
So
CONEY,
fun.
I have to say, I watched you at launch.
Oh yeah,
Dude, nice. Bro, I seriously, because the game had just released at that point, so I was just starving for Inkling footage. I really vibed with the character right away, and I was like, dude, man, CONEY can play, like, and I was happy to see that, man, because as a personality in the scene, I feel like there's that narrative that is often kind of lazily constructed that, like, commentators suck, or like TOs suck, stuff like that. People that are outside of the conventional competitor role. And I loved seeing you getting it done, bro. Especially with Inkling, you're looking clean.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I that's always honestly kind of been a sore spot for me, because in Brawl I was super good, and I was super good at PM too, and it's like I don't like not being good at the games that I'm commentating. So Smash 4, I was always like kind of a little wounded that I was like good enough to get out of pools, but I would get like, I don't know, 48th or 33rd at nationals or something, which isn't like good by my standards, you know? But that's always kind of been a misperception, because like Max Ketchum, Kitaro, they're super good at any game. They just lose a lot because they're playing, like, Kitaro's living with Cosmos, Tweak. Of course he's gonna lose all the time.
You could just go into the kitchen and eat a bowl of cereal and improve at Smash in that household.
Yeah, exactly. It's insane. Like, they probably money match to like decide who does laundry that week. That's how the house operates. So like, commentators always better than people think, but it does feel good to feel like. So I've only been to, I think, 2 or 3 events now at Xanadu, and like every time I'm getting like, I think I got 9th, 7th, 5th. So it's like, all right, I'm in the top 8, and this is out of like 150, 160 entrants. So it's like, all right, I'm back in the groove finally.
Right,
so
man.
it's super cool.
2 more weeks and you're taking home the gold, baby. If my math checks out.
We'll see. I don't know. ZD's really good, so
Right,
he's ahead of all of us, dude. Like, and like you were saying before, it's like when I play these people, like, they are just clearly better, which is such a cool, refreshing feeling, as opposed to Smash 4, where I don't know. I don't know. You know, they're obviously better than me, but I don't know what I can improve on. When I play Ultimate, I can see it clearly. It's awesome.
You know, I'm happy because I came to a very similar conclusion last night. Went to my first local last night, got second place, and you know, I won a lot of locals in Smash 4 over the history of the game. You know, if I didn't get first, I'd be not very salty, but I'd be disappointed in myself, right? Sure. And when I lost in Ultimate, it was like I understood exactly why I lost, and I was able to appreciate in real time what the other player did better than me, and I was almost just impressed. I was like, wow, like that was super fun. I got schooled in this situation. Good to know. Now I'm learning. And I agree that like there's no cognitive dissonance between performance and you know, results anymore.
Yeah, and part of me is a little skeptical because like I think part of it is that honeymoon new game feel, so I hope that feeling persists, but I remember even at the beginning of Smash 4 being frustrated by stuff like that. So I have not yet been super frustrated fighting people, like fighting characters, or like I haven't run into that wall, but I feel like it's gonna happen at some point, and hopefully, like I said, this feeling stays. We'll see.
Yeah, it seems to be that way with me too. Although I feel like when playing my K Rool on Wi-Fi, a few people are getting a little a little frustrated.
CONEY, if you want that honeymoon period to end, just play AV's K Rool on Wi-Fi, right? That'll snap you back to it.
I get it. I've seen K Rools. I can't beat any Zelda because the second you hit them, they just hit B, and it's like, oh, the combo's over because you can't. That it's anti-fun. The Phantom is out. You can't block it. Like there's certain characters that thrive on online, and I don't play Inkling online because I don't think that they're an especially precise character, but I could just roll her for free and probably kill people over and over and over. So
Booyah is impossible to hit online. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there into the universe.
Yeah, that's super hard. I can barely hit it offline if I'm being honest with a lot of characters. So yeah.
But CONEY, you kind of flirted with the idea earlier, talking about how you had been around for the launch of Brawl, for the launch of PM, you know, for Smash 4. You know, this is not, you know, a launch of a new Smash game isn't like a super novel concept to you. I mean, perhaps, you know, there still is some childlike, you know, joy there, but
sure,
you've been through a lot of launches, and so like as the years go by, like in your opinion, you know, what changes about these launches? Like what's different now? What's the same? You know, what are some of your observations?
Sure. Well, it's kind of interesting because back in the day, I think a lot of it has to do maybe not with like the rise of Twitch. And when I'm talking about this, I'm talking purely about like a global perspective about like who's watching who and what's getting big and things like that, because I don't have really my ear to the ground in terms of like local stuff in that way. But it does feel like at Smash 4's launch, it was all about kind of these established big channels and venues to get your content. So like VG was #1 on Smash 4 launch every time. Most viewers, everybody wanted to go there because they were the competitive authority. What's kind of interesting now is that instead of things like that, now personalities are taking over. So you're seeing people go into like Lyric Stream and Zero Stream and Nairos, and like everybody that's picking up Smash Ultimate on that day on Twitch, that's immediately what they're gravitating to. They don't care so much about who's the competitive authority, who's streaming with the most followers, you know, stuff like that, which I think is kind of interesting. It kind of speaks to the casual appeal that the game has. I'm super excited for Smash Switch just because, you know, Smash Wii U was just it was good, but it was on a dead system, which not a lot of people bought. The install base was super low, and there wasn't as much in terms of just overall, for lack of a better word, just hype around it. You know what I mean? And also, I think it's important to make the note that back when Smash 4 launched, it was great, but we always had PM on the side. It's like, okay, if this isn't a great competitive game, we can always just keep playing Project M. Like, we could just default to that if we want to. And then we can play Smash 4 if it's really good, but if not, we can just do the other thing. Now we don't have that ability, and I think while, you know, it does kind of suck what happened to that game, it is kind of refreshing that this is the one thing that's going to bring us together. It's nice.
Yeah, like this is our Mayflower. Like this is we all have to hop in the boat because there's no other ones leaving the harbor. Like let's just hope let's just hope there's something on the other side other than inevitable genocide.
Yeah, and the Melee players are just sticking on land. They're like, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm playing this game for 30 more years.
Are you calling the five gods monarchs?
I guess so, actually. Yeah.
They're proponents of mercantilism. I don't know.
Yeah,
we gotta stop. We're going down a weird rabbit hole.
Right. I actually kind of had two things. One was to follow up on your point of PM. It's actually really interesting. At the end of Smash 4's lifespan, what we saw was this mod called 4XM kind of surfacing here and there, and it was actually starting to get a decent amount of traction. And I feel like if Smash 4 carried on for a little longer, we might have seen that get a little more attention. Not too seriously, but I think it was interesting that something that was in development. The second thing is just basically the increasing amount of content. Back in the Melee days, people resorted to like ancient scrolls and writings on like cave walls to like learn how to like wave dash and L cancel and stuff. But now with Smash 4, with like dedicated YouTube channels like Danish Butter Cookie, Beefy Smash Dudes, like all of these all these really dedicated content creators, we have kind of this accelerated learning path to the game. And in your experience, have you seen that with each Smash release, are people learning faster at the beginning?
I don't really know, honestly, because like, yes, there's more content out there, but there's much more people. So like I said, at Xanadu, there's 170 people going. So maybe your first 3 rounds are people that aren't really, or maybe your first 2 rounds are people that, play kind of competitively, but they don't take it all that seriously. Meanwhile, back in the Brawl days, it's like, okay, you've got 50 people, but all 50 people they got to the tournament from Smashboards, because that was really the competitive meeting hub. So everybody had access to the character boards and had access to the tech. Not to say that they did it all and they understood it, but like it's a question of you've got 50 like 8 out of 10s as opposed to 150, anywhere from 5 out of 10 to 10 out of 10. So it's like the scope is much greater. I think the content's better, particularly because there's so many characters now. Like, it's insane, and being able to have those as resources for, every character. If you can get something for like a specialist, so like a Fatality talking about Falcon, or a Scat talking about Mega Man, something like that, that's super helpful. But on the whole, honestly, I don't really know if it's like helping people get better on a grand scale, because I think that people tend to, I'm a super fundamentals based player. I kind of strive to just make my game better before trying to apply any tech. And I think most people go in the opposite direction. They try to find this super minute tech that works on this very obscure character at this 10% window.
Yeah.
Instead of working, I mean, it's the fox that like dash dances all over the stage and does wavelands on platforms and then immediately gets hit by a back air. It's like
the Weed Lord.
Yeah, exactly. There's some people that are so focused on tech that they don't know the fundamentals of the game and spacing and footsies and ledge play and stuff like that. And I think if you don't know the basic stuff, that tech's not going to help you at all.
Yeah. I mean, we had like a huge section about this previously, about your like Weed Lords versus your Borps, and
yes, yeah.
And we talked about how like learning all of this like really, really obscure tech isn't necessarily the best use of your time. So I totally agree. Something interesting that you brought up was kind of this dilution of players who are like really dedicated, because now you've got like a bunch of people who are like have this more ephemeral like relationship with the game, and it's not sure if it's ever going to materialize. And you have all these people are being fed in by kind of this more esports aura around Smash. And Smash was always this really grassroots thing. And what's going on is we're kind of we're setting fire to the grassroots, if you may. And we know that fire does bring in room for new life, but what do you see with like this whole like new realm of esports? What do you see like esports role in kind of changing the way that the Smash community works and basically improving the foundations and subsidizing a lot of the stuff that we actually kind of take granted for now? Like what is the progress that we're gonna see in terms of the esports and Smash Ultimate?
Honestly, I think a lot of it is impossible to know, like in terms of perceiving what's going to happen in 5 years. Like for instance, at Apex 2015, which was the first big Smash 4 major, I can tell you that the commentators didn't get really anything because we were coming in from a broad perspective. We had we maybe got 30 minutes on a 480p stream. We had an analyst desk, which was really just me, EE, and Max sitting in 3 chairs. Like it wasn't anything. And to see where we've gone from there to now, where we've got the giant Genesis Theater and we've got Esports Arena, and we're headlining events there, and the summits that we've had, there's no way that we could have guessed. And I think that the same thing is going to happen with Smash Switch, where we're kind of going to ride this wave as much as we can, especially in the beginning, and we're going to see where it takes us. But I don't think there's any way for us to know what's on the other end. I think we just have to, feel it out and hopefully make the right decision on the way. The only thing that I think we can be sure of that we're going to see, and this is something that DM and I have been kind of working on, and what we did with Hypercent in the last Stock Arcadian that was a national online tournament. I think online events are going to become much more prestigious and much more of a big deal than they are now. I don't know if that's the case now. That was my prediction back before we knew how bad the online would be, and it's not great.
Yeah.
It's not awful, but like if it was as good as it deserves to be, then I think this would have been a bigger deal. But still, I think it's not out of the question to see large streamers like Zero, CDN the Third is doing a lot of Smash stuff now too. Maybe even Ninja, stuff like that. Mango, Armada, whatever big Smash streamers are, Leffen doing sub tournaments, having online events with prizes since they have sponsors. I think there's really going to be more growth in the online space and more opportunity for those guys, because that's kind of the norm for other places. But I don't think it's at the level where it's going to hurt or harm locals. But that's the only real prediction I would make for how the rise of the new stuff that we've seen in terms of like online culture, and that's the only thing I could guess at. Everything else is just, it's going to be unprecedented, I think.
So like with this with the rise of esports, I think we've also kind of seen the rise of like the standardization of the tournament experience. I think I definitely was a doc kid. I started really paying attention to Smash. At the time where the early Smash 4 events were happening, what was that, Apex 2015, right? And like you just mentioned, and
something like that, yeah.
So one of
Apex
those.
2015 was the first Smash 4 like super major, yeah.
Right, and that was actually, I think, the first major I ever watched. So I kind of came in very late, at the start of this, perhaps at the beginning point of the esportsification of Smash, and I have seen that most tournaments, from the viewer's perspective, play out pretty much the same.
Sure.
At least maybe the venue as a different color. Maybe different players perform better on a given occasion. But other than that, the viewing experience is pretty much the same exact thing. And Smash is fun to watch, especially Smash Ultimate, in my opinion. So I'm not complaining. But what I loved about Last Stock, which to give a bit more perspective on it, it was an online tournament that you and the other host of the Hypercent podcast, Dean Brandon, put together. And the whole aim of that podcast, and please correct me if I misrepresent your guys' goals, was to spice things up. Was to, you guys wanted to see people use different characters, use different stages, and really understand kind of to kind of modulate the viewership experience. And
Sure. It was I don't want to make it sound like it was purely like performative though. Like not like it wasn't just like, oh, look, we want to make things different. It was also we were really trying to find somebody that could handle anything. So we forced people to use 3 different characters, and we had random little bit more variety in terms of stages. We were trying to find the best unsigned player that we could. You know what I mean?
Right. But my point is you guys had an interesting premise. Like that concept is very novel. And that premise, much like a great joke or a great like performance of a song, the premise really made it a more dramatic experience. And I guess I put you on the spot. This is a tough question to ask. I've been wrestling it with myself. Like, what do you think that tournament organizers can do, especially esports organizations such as BC or 2GG? What can they do to provide context and to really spice up the tournament experience for both players and viewers?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on this. So it's hard because historically we've tried different things in the past to make tournaments more appealing in terms of viewership. I think that's the next step for tournaments. So if you were talking about the standardization of tournaments, and it's funny because I think what's happening is on the participation side, people that are actually going to events, we had an insane overabundance of tournaments. There was like a major every single week. It was unreal. And now we're kind of thinning that out where the cream is rising to the top. So events that can offer different in-person experiences like Smash and Splash, Smash Con, Evo, things that are beyond just a tournament are really front and center, and they're kind of leading the pack in terms of events that are growing year over year and becoming mainstays. And like everybody knows now that Evo is like August is Evo, June is Smash and Split. You know what I mean? It's becoming a normal thing for those tournaments. Now, I don't know necessarily how that translates to online events. The issue is that it feels like whenever we try something in Smash, we'll try new stuff, and either it won't take, or viewers just don't care about it, or because, like, for instance, we've tried analyst desks a few times, and every time it's either well, generally every single time it's just not taken to at the level that we think, and we think it's a great idea, and we think it'd be awesome, and there's such a space for it, but viewers just don't care. Viewers just want to watch the game itself, and I think that's where TOs kind of are scratching their heads, because they want to do cool stuff. Like 2GG had all the sagas with all the theming and all the round robins, like Falcon round robins and stuff like that, crew battles. But generally, those things don't perform nearly as well as just the normal singles game itself. And running those things consistently is kind of a challenge. So it's also hard. Like, let's say that tomorrow they announce a Squad Strike National in New York City. And that's like the main event. You're not going to get that many people. You're going to get people with wide breadth of characters, and you might get, a pretty large amount for against what you're expecting. But deviating outside of just like normal singles, if it's not a side event, is really risky to do. I think people can expand in side events, and hopefully that'll be the answer. But we don't know. I think Squad Strike has a lot of potential, but who knows if people adopt that?
Right. Yeah, it's a really interesting concept, because as a TO myself, I've always struggled with the idea of experimenting at the cost of the experience of the players. And it's hard to strike that balance sometimes, understanding what will be a positive experience versus do people just want to play singles. And one thing that's interesting is we see the glitch series. Is the glitch series a one-off thing, or are there allowed to be more events like it? Like, what do you think about? Is it a novel thing, or do you think more tournaments should kind of take that approach to what they do?
I think glitch is unique in that it filled a role where MDVA didn't have regionals, at least not on a. We didn't have like a Midwest Mayhem or a 2GG Saga or something that was not just a regional for our space, but also something to attract out of state. So we were sorely missing that. So I think that what happened was we needed something in that space anyway. And then Tant's approach was to, okay, what's happening? And I'm speculating. I don't mean to put words in his mouth or act like he got this idea from there, but I think he saw where the wind was blowing in terms of like SmashCon. It's like, okay, there's clearly a large casual base. What if we take these events, slightly tweak some rule sets, give it a bit more time, and just try to have a little bit more fun with this stuff? It's funny because Midwest used to be the region that did that the most back in the Brawl days, but now Midwest is so kind of fractured. Back in the day, and Midwest players would drive 6 hours to go to a local because there weren't that many people playing Brawl. Now you got scenes all over the world, so it's much better. But I think that there are spaces for things like that. I can't speak to any individual scene because I think every scene is different. Some scenes have 5-person PRs, some people have 20. Some TOs really value the in-person experience. They don't really care so much about streaming or content. I think every scene is different, but I do think that there are opportunities to explore and really expand on. Like, there's so much content in this game, dude. There's 103 stages. There's so many different modes. Smashdown's a thing if you want to really get crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if at SmashCon they took a Smash Masters approach and we're like, all right, let's get the 4 best Smash Ultimate players play Smashdown, and then
that'd be sick. I'd watch that.
That'd be super cool. And SmashCon is, like I said, those guys are just unreal in what they bring to the event year after year. I would like to see more stuff like that, but I think there's space for it. Yeah.
Well, this would be such a great instance of when Nintendo intervention might actually really benefit. And of course, it's like, look, I mean, I don't want to just beat a dead horse, say, oh, if Nintendo, but like the whole, to go back to the last doc, I mean, you guys had an awesome premise, cause and effect. You had this goal in mind, and the result is a player is going to be taken under your wing, taken to Genesis, on your dime. And, it was just kind of cool idea. It was like, this happens and there's consequence for this tournament happening. I think Civil War, 2GG Civil War, did a great job of that too. It kind of became a cultural experience. You signed up, you were Team Zero, you were Team Ally. And I think that they really did kind of, in a similar way, have this great sort of cause and effect. Every single match that you saw was contributing to some larger goal. I thought it was cool. If Nintendo was on board, they could have like in-launcher stuff, for this tournament, the winner's name gets put on this part of the whatever on the boot up screen for a day or whatever in reference to the tournament. Like, little stuff like that would go such a long way. I think you see other games do it.
Yeah, I'm of two minds about it, because I do think that Nintendo has opportunities to explore in that space, and I think that there's some really cool things that they're doing. Like, I love that they're doing the leagues in Japan, whether they have items, whether they don't have items. I don't care. I think it's a good thing one way or another. And I think a lot of people that are complaining like, oh, of course, these are items with weird stages. They're not seeing the forest for the trees. They're not seeing the big picture about all this stuff, because you can hold an event and it doesn't have to be a Genesis super serious, multinational. I think that's a little naive to think that you can only have one way of running a tournament. But at the same time, I think Nintendo's, I really do empathize with Nintendo's sort of stance on intervention, which is, I think if they get involved now in any capacity that is outside of like, okay, here's this single event or this insulated thing that we're going to run, I think they run the risk of changing who and what we are in a way that might not be, it's not going to help us in the long run. So as soon as Nintendo starts getting their hands on certain events, they might need to, prove to stakeholders and to investors and shareholders that it's worth getting involved in. And if you put money in, it's because you expect money out. And if you put 1,000 in, you expect 10,000 out. And if we have to serve that master, I think it could take us down a pretty grim path in the long run. So I think Nintendo isn't looking into the space for a multitude of reasons, and I think it makes sense for their business not to do it. It would be cool, don't get me wrong, I think it'd be awesome, but I do think that, like, there are reasons outside of stuff that we can perceive, reasons that they're not, dipping their toes in.
What we need is you or D1 or someone that just loves the community to win the lottery and just feel very generous. Like, we just need some financier, someone. So we need a sugar daddy, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, basically, but
CONEY, be our sugar daddy, please.
Here's the problem, though, is that, like, you remember last year, or it was 2017, I think, Champ was the sugar daddy. 2GG and ESA, they were the sugar daddies. They put in all this money, had a saga every month, had Civil War where they flew out every top 50 PGR player, and we had the best event of all time. But that's not sustainable. And now, they kind of split off their partnership. ESA hasn't run any big Smash Ultimate events. I thought that they were going to do something huge, but I think they're kind of gun shy about stepping into that space. Like, I think that we've had these opportunities presented to us, and either we don't deliver or it's not profitable to them. It's like, we need somebody totally selfless. Like, we need Elon Musk to get into Smash and throw us $50 million and be like, okay, I don't expect anything back.
Look, I think our gateway's through Grimes. We give Grimes a Switch. We get her Smash, and then she gets Elon in there. All right. Who knows Grimes? I guess.
I know you're listening, Grimes. Just take his card out of his wallet right now and just ask for it. He'll be like, "Oh yeah, $3 billion. Yeah, sure. Here you go, honey. Take it. It's fine."
Dude, I heard Elon actively is just actively scours Twitter for memes. So I'm not. I would not be surprised if
that's not a bad idea.
I can't wait for the first Martian PR.
It's pretty good.
If Mars doesn't make that, that's a goddamn shame. But yeah, I want to pivot a little bit. We were kind of leaning on your, I don't know, on your breadth of experience earlier. Mm-hmm. You've obviously spent a lot of time at every level of the game. You that's kind of the thing, is people that have been around as long as you have. You were there. You've been to the 5-man locals, the 20-man locals, and you've commentated the biggest top 8s ever. So you've kind of seen every level of the Smash Hotel. And I guess I want to steal some of your insight. You've been around people at the cutting edge of this game. Even you said you lived with Gimmer. I know he's such a lab fiend. Spending a lot of time with top players as you go to these events. How do people at the cutting edge of Smash, the top players, talk about the game differently than just the guys like at Taco Bell after a local?
I gotta confess, I was not particularly close or involved with a lot of the Smash 4 top people, like in terms of like hanging out with them regularly. I knew all the guys and I respected them and I liked a lot of them, but it's like I'm 30, and it's like a lot of those dudes are like 19, 20, 21. We got nothing in common. You know what I mean? Like I can like them and I like hanging out with them, but like I'm much more prone to being around other commentators, because like D1's 30 something, TK's 30, EE's 30. You know what I mean? We're from a similar and we've been around each other for so long that we kind of stick together. But I can tell you from, I it's not that I don't hang out with the guys. It's not every moment of every tournament, but I can tell you the main thing is that these guys tend to treat it. It's kind of funny. They treat it less seriously in a lot of ways than the guys that are at Taco Bell complaining about the characters that they lost to. The guys that are at the top, they understand when people are having a bad day or when somebody, played subpar or if they got a win that they didn't deserve. Meanwhile, I think a lot of people that haven't been there before, they haven't been on the stage, they haven't been to the dance, they're much more likely to take stuff to heart. Like if they get a big upset win, it's on their Twitter bio and they talk about it constantly and remember the time I beat X. Like if you've been there before, you understand that it one day doesn't mean anything. One tournament doesn't mean anything. And I think being able to see things in the big picture is what a lot of the a lot of what people who either drown in pools or go 0-2 as soon as they get in the bracket, that's kind of what they lack, is the perspective to know whether today is your day, it's not your day, it's someone else's day, and to not take stuff so seriously. And it's funny to say that because like a lot of the dudes that are at the top, it is their life, right? They're sponsored, they play the game 8 hours a day, blah, blah. But at the same time, I think that they're a lot more grounded in knowing, just having a more level-headed approach to how they view the game.
Yeah, there is this like weird self-awareness that comes with competing for a decent amount of time. And the thing is, we have a lot of new players that kind of listen to this podcast and people that want to improve.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be difficult sometimes to not take a extremely good win or loss to heart and to basically just like act like you've been in the end zone many times before. How would you recommend that someone who's just learning the game and just starting to pick up some of these good wins and bad losses handle this in a way that's obviously not exactly like the pro players, but similar in a way that they can grow into that kind of mindset?
I think a lot of it just honestly comes with experience. You're going to have days where you play way below your standard or your perceived standard. You're going to have days where you're playing way harder. You're going to have sets that you really feel like you should have won. You're going to have sets that you can't believe you lost, or that you can't believe that you did win. I just had a set with Pink Fresh at the last Xanadu and we've played like hundreds of sets before. Have played so many games. Game 3, last stock, we're both at 150. He's Pit, I'm Inkling, and he up Bs, but he goes in the wrong direction, I guess because he's nervous. And he just like, he hangs his head. And I know I shouldn't, it's not that I should have lost that, because it could have gone either way, because we were both at next hit 1. But I shouldn't have won it, not like that. And I think a lot of people in that kind of instance against, a known player, against a super great player, top 100 all time kind of deal, would like jump from their chair and freak out and go crazy. But you got to remember, it's not about winning the game. It's not about the week 4, week 5, or week 6, or whatever it is in the NFL. It's about winning the most games, and it's about going to the Super Bowl, and it's about winning the trophy. You can win, 50% of your sets. That's fine, but it's about winning where it counts the most and where it matters.
Yeah.
I think that's just something that comes with experience over time. I don't know if there's a way to really accelerate your progress. I think some people, there's always the guy at locals that goes 0-2 and still rages and throws down his controller and has been playing for years and years and will still be back next week. That guy that guy just doesn't get it, and that's fine. He could be a really cool, nice guy otherwise, but he just doesn't have the self-awareness to really critique himself and look at himself outside of that lens.
Right.
I think it's on players to really take accountability for their results.
Yeah, and honestly, that's kind of the answer that I was hoping you'd give, because I think that there is no secret. Like, it's like when you go to the gym and you ask someone, or someone asks you, it's like, how do you get so big? It's like, no, you're not going to give them some kind of answer like 5 tips, like doctors hate him or personal trainers.
Yeah.
It's like you say you come here 3 times a week and you have a routine and you stick to it.
What's that like Uncle Iroh quote? Like a grain of sand is a boulder if you're an ant or something.
Something like that. I know what you're talking about. It's just, there are no shortcuts to it, and like the the physicality and working on your physique is such a good metaphor because you can I think people just kind of instinctively have respect for people that have achieved that level of athleticism because it's like you can't fake it. Like
Yeah.
you can't there's no way around it. That person worked for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's an apt metaphor because in achieving success in Smash or competitive gaming, it's the same thing. You can't just be good overnight. It takes real stuff, especially with the level of competition that we have now.
So, Coney, you've been in Smash for a while. Keep going back to that theme, and you talked earlier, even in this conversation, that Smash 4 was kind of a dark chapter for you, at least in terms of how you actually thought about the game itself and competing in it. So why Smash? You know, why what do you value in this scene, in the community, you know, in the franchise that kept you engaged in a game that you didn't really care for?
Uh, Beyond anything, I just always love to. I've always loved to commentate and be a part of that world. Even if I didn't like the game itself or playing it, just being able to see these things and trends and storylines emerge and be a part of that and being able to convey it to an audience was always really appealing to me. Like I said, even if I didn't really like playing the game as much, um, I've never really had a good answer for why I like playing Smash. I don't know. I love it the same reason that everybody else does. I've been playing it since 1999 on, is that when the first one came out? Yeah, I think that's when Smash 64 came out. And I just, it gelled with me and it always has, in a way that I can't really articulate, I guess.
Do you
But
think that commentating is what you're best at in life?
Um, I don't know about in life. I got a day job, so I'm not sure. Because like so by day I'm a web developer. I'm not making Smash my full time anytime soon. Um, I'm one of the. I think I might be one of the few commentators that isn't like a full time content creator. I got other stuff going on, but it's like I really do enjoy it. I see a lot of areas where I can improve, but that's just because I'm naturally like super critical. But I think I do okay. You know, it's fine.
Coney, I gotta say, man, I was at Genesis 5. I was in the theater when you were emceeing,
Oh yeah.
and dude, I you were more entertaining than the games. Like you said this one thing, I didn't even know because I'm not like I didn't grow up in the wrestling world at all. But
Yeah.
the guy sitting next to me, a good friend of mine, he loves wrestling, and you did like an MK Leo Echo Fox's rated R
Oh yeah.
superstar.
It's so stupid. Nobody got it except the people that got it. It's so
Yeah,
fun.
the guy sitting next to me, I've never seen a man laugh so hard. He had like and I was like, "What is he referencing?" I laughed because it was just a funny noise that you made. But you know, but now, yeah. So ever since that, dude, I don't know why. It's almost like you saying that is like a text, like my text ringtone or something. I hear it like once per day. I don't know why it stuck with me. So
That's super funny.
I don't know, man. I think you're good at it. You know, I think that I think I don't want to say that you shouldn't be critical because perhaps the reason that you've gotten so good is because you're honest with yourself and critical. And I think it takes a good bit of humility to commentate and be actually good at it. I think that like overconfidence and ego is so transparent, especially among public figures and quotation marks personalities. And
Sure.
I think for you a part of the appeal is you can tell there's like a realistic passion embedded underneath your actual personality and that's why I ask. I mean, like, do you see yourself fading away from Smash anytime soon? Like what keeps you coming in, time out?
Well, first off, thank you for all that. I really do appreciate it. I love hearing stuff like that. That's it makes it all worth it. I agree with you in that it I don't know, man. It's all just video games, and I love doing it, and I have fun, and I never would be somebody to really get a big head about it, because like at the end of the day, Smash is still pretty small on a grand scale. You know, I'm me and everybody else are known, except maybe D1, by maybe like 0.1% of all people that play Smash. You know, it's like we're still pretty small fries, but um, I don't know. In terms of taking me out of the scene, I can't really see myself stepping out in a way that would be a permanent thing unless I don't know. So I'm married. My wife and I actually just had our 13-year anniversary yesterday.
Oh,
Not married.
Wow.
Not married.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah,
Oh, congrats, man.
Thank you. Yeah. 13 years together yesterday. But like, we're thinking about, family, kids, stuff like that. And I imagined that would kind of pull me away, but I don't think I would ever be out in any full capacity.
It's even more impressive than your placement at the Xanadu launch event.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But so nothing intrinsic with the game would ever take you out. It'd have to be like life circumstance and just general growing up kind of things, like a shifting of priorities.
Yeah, I guess so. Because like even if I can commentate and I can have fun and really be a huge part of it, feel like I'm having a big part in a community for a game I'm not explicitly enjoying, but I really like being a part of the commentary stuff. I don't think I could ever be out of it 100%.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I kind of feel the same way. Like no matter how my life has progressed, or no matter how hard my schoolwork came, and as a software engineer myself, like I kind of feel that in terms of like it's actually nice it's nice having the separation, this thing that is completely outside of my work.
Yes.
And it's interesting because I see some things that cross over, especially from creating content and TOing and just organizing, that kind of cross into my work and it as well. Like, do you see any things that from your work in Smash that have crossed into your development as like in your like actual career?
Literally nothing. I know that's probably not the answer you're expecting, but
no, I love it. That's good. I'm totally okay with it.
It's super funny because like by day, like I said, I'm a web developer, but I work in a super corporate, button up, reserved, conservative, like it's very white collar.
Okay.
And I'm very quiet. Like I'm just kind of the office hermit. I have a little cubicle. Not to say that I'm like antisocial. I'll talk with people, but like I keep my personal and my private life like super separated. You know what I mean? And and the reason is in situations like that, I don't trust my job to like I'll take off work to go to a tournament, and then I'll tell them, maybe I'm doing something else or family, something like that. But then it's like, if I actually have to take off for an emergency, I'd be like, oh, they're just playing his video game. He's probably going to another turn. I don't. In the office is I'm probably the youngest person in the office by like 20 years. So it's like, wow. It's pretty considerable. So yeah, bottom line, I try to, at work, I'm just a keyboard monkey, not really doing anything in terms of presenting or communicating. But then, the Smash world, I'm this totally different. And part of it is also like CONEY isn't the same as Zach. You know what I mean? When I'm at events, even if I'm not on the mic, I'm still on. You know what I mean? So it's still a little different. But yeah, it's I do know what you mean in that like sometimes the skills do transfer over, because like in my past lives is like my past jobs, I've seen that. But for right now, where I'm at my life now is just like totally divided.
Yeah, I just feel like you're like Batman.
Like kind of, yeah. It's a cool feeling. It's a really cool feeling because like I'll go into work, I'll be like, all right, I got to take off Friday. They're like, what for? I'm like, just a family thing. And then I'm flying to like San Jose, flying back Monday morning, and I'm getting into the like it feels nice. It's kind of cool.
That's
secret
funny.
Agent.
Dude, I'm kind of undergoing the same thing. I have a cubicle. I'm the youngest person in the house by far. And like every time I have to go to an event, it's just easier to say I'm going to the dentist. And like I'm running out of teeth, man. I need a new alibi.
I feel like they gotta take it. They're pulling another one. Not again. Yeah.
This is so funny to hear, because like in my office, like every Monday I say like, yeah, I'm going to the local today.
Bro, that's the Bay Area. That's San Francisco. You guys are all woke. But that's funny. I think CONEY, I think like what that, at least my interpretation of what you said about your own situation and how like your CONEY relates to Zach, to me suggests that Smash is, at least to you, an outlet to balance out that side of your personality that you couldn't otherwise express. And I feel like the two are kind of exist in equilibrium, like CONEY and Zach. And And I don't know, I really appreciate Smash myself because it allows us to channel. Even if you're not CONEY, even if you're just a random like 0-2 or a guy at your local, you're gonna have this own your own perception of yourself, and you can kind of reinvent yourself, and it can be an outlet of whatever you want it to be. And I think
agree.
that's cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. So before, like at the same time that I was doing a lot of the Smash stuff, I'm also an actor, like a stage actor, theater, and I've done a lot of that. And I kind of stepped away from that so I could go to more events and do streaming and be a Twitch partner, stuff like that. But back in the day, that was kind of my outlet for that kind of deal. And it is kind of similar because like it's not that you're fundamentally changing your personality, but with the tag and with the main that you pick and with who you are, you can kind of create your own story. And I think it's really cool to see, somebody like ZD that was just this Luigi player always going 0-2 at every event. And then just out of nowhere, he starts getting really good, really good, really good. And right now he's the best player in MDVA by far. And it's kind of interesting because like Seagull took ZD under his wing and created this monster that he can't control anymore. So like Seagull did it so he would have a good training partner, and now ZD's better than Seagull, and Seagull doesn't know how to contain him. Which I like. Shit like that is super cool, I think.
Take that, Mary Shelley.
Yeah, basically, it's like I think that's super fascinating. That ZD could do that, but he's not the kind of person to think of it in those terms of like, having this alternate identity. But I definitely see what you mean. I think it's super cool.
Well, CONEY, I don't want to keep you any longer, man. It's midnight over on the East Coast right now, and I really want to thank you for coming on today, man. I knew you'd be a great guest. Obviously, I've listened to you speaking with Mike for many hours, so I knew you were qualified. But really, man, it was great to have your perspective on all this, and really appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you guys for having me on. Sorry if I rambled a little bit in the past. I tend to do that when I get lost on tangents.
You were totally good. Yeah, you were totally fine.
CONEY, where can people find you, man?
You. And thank you guys for having me on.
I interrupted you. Where can people find you, my friend?
Oh, all you gotta do is just search CONEY Smash and you can find all my stuff if you search it on Google. So twitter.com/CONEYZZ, twitch.tv/CONEY. I'm trying to get rid of Z's in my Twitter thing, but the person that owns @CONEY has tweeted once in 11 years and won't let me have it. Yeah, so one day that'll be fixed, but probably not by the time anybody hears this. So yeah, just check me out.
CONEY, I have one question. Is it hard to find any of your VODs from the year 2012?
Oh God. You would not believe how much I heard that, especially in the year 2012. It's a disaster.
I'm so sorry, man, because you picked that name. You were CONEY before that whole thing, of course,
way
right? So wait, you made it cool. You did it way before it was cool, and so yeah, that must have been
2009. Oh my God,
I want
like 3 years before.
Well, one.
I was playing League of Legends in 2012 though, so it was okay. My Smash periods were like 2009 to 2011, and then 2014 to now. So during that time, I might have been doing some stuff with child soldiers. I don't know. Who knows?
In Uganda, causing havoc.
Maybe some illicit behavior.
CONEY, thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure.
Of course. Thanks again for having me on. Really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Welcome back to Beyond the Metagame. I'm joined solely right now with AV. AV, I had so much fun talking with CONEY. I really got to say, CONEY is one of the good ones. He's such a. If you can't tell what a good guy, how much he cares about this community, this game, is from that interview, I don't think you have people skills, because CONEY's just such a sweet guy that means so well, and I was so pleased to have him on the show.
Yeah, it was really wonderful. I think he brought a lot of really well-spoken perspective, which is kind of hard to come by these days. I He explained really well like how like stuff has grown over the years. He brought a really nice point of view from the experience that he had without without kind of really souring any particular part other than obviously like Smash 4 was kind of like a dark spot for us all, except for me. I love ding dong people, but
Well, that was
but
kind of the thing. Is like even though he didn't
yeah,
explicitly say, what he valued from all the sum of his experiences, it seemed like he found the community a good place to kind of grow and to have fun and to make meaningful connections and uh, to have that outlet away from his normal life, and to kind of use it to his benefit and to grow from it. And he didn't really explicitly say it, but I just think like all of his experiences and I don't know. It was just awesome to see how much he loves the game and how much he's benefited from it. It really inspired me. It really reminded me of all the things that Smash has done for me. So it was great.
yeah, absolutely. Smash has done a ton for me, and yeah, this stuff like this is only makes me appreciate it more.
So
Something that we're going to get into now is our questions for our podcast.
that's right, guys. So if you
Yeah.
do want to ask us questions, it's very simple. Join our Discord channel. So it'll be in our show notes wherever you're listening to us. Join our community. It's popping. Every single day we get new people, and it's a relatively small but growing, yet tight knit group of people. They're all learning together. They're all very supportive of each other, and it's just a lot of good, nice people. So give it a join and come ask us questions. First question this week was from Small Fry. And he asked a question about music. He says, do you guys play listening to your own music or game audio? And do you feel it can be distracting to have crowd chatter while playing? And what are you listening to if you do listen to music? So I think we should both answer this, but I'll let you start.
Sure. I listen to nothing. I love having this like, getting into this meditative state. So I used to listen to a lot of music, but now I don't because I get into there's like a state that people talk about on in a lot of things online. It's called flow. Look it up. You can get into flow a lot easier if your kind of brain is empty. Obviously, it doesn't work if there's like a crowd cheering or if there's people screaming. Then you probably need like noise canceling headphones or something like that. But for me, most of the time, I am listening to nothing.
I've previously documented a phenomenon that it's called like the optimal window of stress. So like the midpoint between apathy and a panic attack is exactly where you want to be. And ideally, if I'm playing well and I don't have headphones in and you see me, and I'm also playing well, that probably means that I'm in that flow state that Abhi referenced. If I'm kind of dragging or tired or sluggish and I'm feeling more apathetic than I should be, I'll put on some tunes, usually something with a beat, to kind of hype me up. That could be anything. It could be some, you know, I don't want to say a song or genre because it really depends on the day. Just something upbeat. Or if I'm closer towards that panic attack side of the spectrum, where my heart's beating too fast, or I'm nervous, or my hands are shaking, I'll put on something super meditative and slow. Like I'll often put on, like the Undertale song, Another Medium. It's just this kind of like, and it's kind of like this like trancey sort of song, and it helps bring me down in terms of my stress level, to get towards that midpoint. So yeah, that's my detailed
That's super
explanation.
cool. I like that. You're kind of just like you moderate your own your own energy levels. I love that.
Yeah.
I personally love staying in the same state and getting used to the same state over and over again. But I think that I'm actually give that a try. So let's move on to the next question. Ulti Mutt says, "What PGR player that you haven't played would you like to play in bracket and why?" Peon, field that.
So this is selfish. I would like to play a player that is, and let's assume we're talking about Smash 4 and Ultimate, like in terms of playing them. I think that I'd rather play the players that are the most high ranked, but also character specialists. Okay, so what I'm most afraid of when it comes to like playing a player that's really a lot better than me, like let's say top 20 on PGR, the guys that can play 30 different characters and have proven they just have crazy good fundamentals, like the Zeros, the Nairos. look, I know I'll never beat them. They've proven themselves in so many different situations across time. But the players like Elegant, who I did luckily take a set off of, the players like Darkshad or Locust, like the kind of character specialist people, those guys played Ryu. Those guys are theoretically easier for me to beat if I do know the matchup, right? Like if I'm a Luigi expert or something, then I'd want to play an Elegant. If I'm a Ryu expert, I'd want to play a Darkshad or Locust. But since Ultimate's like a new game and I don't really know those kind of circumstances yet, I don't know, man. Give me like I don't know. I don't have an answer. Is that you go first? Let me think about it.
Oh yeah, I don't really have an answer, but I like Tweaks DK a lot, so I just want to play against Tweaks DK and kind of absorb it. So there you go. Now,
because most of the PGR players I really wanted to play, I've played like Tweak, MKLeo, Como,
Right.
Debuzz was really fun. I've never played against Larry Lur. I would love to play against Larry Lur. Just because I really appreciate his game style. I think it's really fun to watch. So it'd be kind of fun to be on the other end of that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Go on to why don't you fire up that next question?
So Fart Daily asks, what is your favorite game/game series other than Smash?
So I think it's always evolved over the years for me. I played a ton of League of Legends before. I played that for 6 or 7 years. I followed the competitive scene I was very dedicated to the competitive scene there. Never got into it myself, although I was fairly highly ranked. I think that right now it's actually a game called OS, or as most people call it, Osu. It's kind of like a rhythm game where you click circles. that is pretty much what I play outside of Smash, because I think it just helps my it helps my hand-eye coordination a lot. It's super fun. You can see progress really easily. I love games that you can like immediately see progress and you can like watch yourself grow as a player. How about you, Peon?
Yeah, so the game that means the most to me is Donkey Kong Country, and mostly because it's actually the reason why our intro and outro music is Sticker Brush Symphony, which is from Donkey Kong Country 2. But it was the game that my dad and my brother were playing like in my first childhood memories, so it was like that kind of nostalgic factor. I can't really look at it objectively, but it just makes me happy. It's my comfort game. It's like my mom's grilled cheese sandwich, it's like that kind of experience for me. So I could never say that's not my favorite game. But I also love World of Warcraft and Halo 3, both of which I've put in my entire life into when I was younger. So got to shout out to those games. Definitely.
Right. I will interject here just to say that Super Mario Sunshine holds a very, very special place in my heart. And I love watching, and I'll always tune in for speedruns of Super Mario Sunshine.
For sure. All right. Cool. B Squared 64 asks, how would you recommend new players like myself train or practice? What settings to use in training mode? And I do want to say that we have touched on this, but I want to talk about this like specifically in Ultimate. Abhi, like what have you been doing to practice, and what do you think other people should be doing?
I have not jumped in training mode yet.
What? Really?
I mean, there was one time where I checked if Ding Dong worked at the very beginning of the game. You know I had to, and I actually just go. I don't have time to jump into training mode and do stuff. So when I am playing, I'm playing online. So that's kind of. I remember I talked about 3 types of players. I said one that'll have the time to lab. What like basically have infinite time. You have like basically the time is not your limiting resource, and then you have that second type of person who you have a decent amount of time, but you still want to kind of allocate efficiently. And then there's the third type of player where you can only do one thing. And more often than not, I fall into that third group, so I don't spend a lot of time in training mode. However, I do want to hear Peon's answer to this.
Yeah, I completely disagree with most of that, to be honest. I think that what you should do is pick a couple characters you like, join the discords for those characters, look at their resources. I guarantee every character, even the obscure ones, have a dedicated group of people that are figuring out what's important about that character. Ask them, what things should I know to understand this character, even at a rudimentary level? Find those resources out, go into training mode, and put like a couple time. Every time they boot up the game, spend 5-10 minutes in there incrementally. Just get down your bread and butter. get down all of your movements and your bread and butter combos with your characters. So that means both research what they are and perfect them. And I'm saying only a few minutes every day. You don't need to do it very long, but do it often and consistently. And that's already been making my like fluency with the game. It's skyrocketing. Every time I play, I feel like I'm getting better and better, and that's what I attribute it to.
So I will say that I did miss the question a little. Like you kind of just asked me what settings I use in training mode, and I just kind of answered that. So while I do this, I will disagree with my own answer in terms of like how I would recommend a new player to train and practice. I'm not really a new player, so I feel like I do have some things I can lean on from the previous games to just kind of go in. But yes, I think I'm just going to echo what Peon said for new players, especially when you're trying to pick up new characters.
Cool.
Yeah. Let's go on to the next question from Zom Barbarian. I love that name. Is it necessary to buy Switch Online to get good for competitive Smash? Peon, answer this.
Simply no. It's not. It's not necessary. Look, the Smash Online in this game, like Coney said it earlier on the show, it's okay. It gets the job done, but it's laggy. If you have a couple of friends nearby that you can play with, real people, that's all you need. That's all you really need if you're smart about it. But if you don't have people that you can play with very often in real life, and you do want to get good at competitive Smash, I would say it is necessary, because fighting against real people and getting exposed to lots of different matchups is really helpful. And again, if you're going to multiple tournaments a week, or even like a tournament every couple of weeks, and you do have exposure to new play styles and to people, and you have a community like that, then it's not necessary at all. I know a lot of people that don't play online Smash and are still very good at the game. Yeah. Av, you got anything?
Nope, that was a good answer.
Okay, man. So that is all the time we have today. I do want to plug some stuff. Join our Discord. I know I said it earlier, but if you have Discord, if you're interested whatsoever, join. It's fun. We had a welcoming community. We want you guys to be a part of it. Come talk to us. Come play friendlies with me and AV. We've already been playing friendlies with like half the Discord by now. So if you want to play with us, talk to us, expose us, say, look, I just destroyed AV and Peon. Come join the Discord. And AV, where can people find you?
People can find me at A plus my long Indian last name. I don't know if you've learned how to spell it yet, but hopefully you have.
Yes, you can find me at Peon_GCE. That's Golf Charlie Echo for all you military folk. And you can find our show's Twitter at Beyond Metagame. Twitter did not allocate any room for the. And guys, if you're still here, please tweet at CONEY. Say, look, man, that was awesome. I enjoyed you coming on to BTM. You're a great guy. I appreciate having you in the scene. Show him some love, because he definitely, did not have to come on our show. He's bigger than us. And he came because he wanted to, because he cares, and because he thought it'd be fun. And so show him some love for that. AV, it's been great.
Yeah, it's been really fun, and I'm super happy that Coney came on, and it was a really cool experience.
All right, guys, that's all for this week. Until next time, goodbye.